Everybody, welcome. This is now episode 33 of my podcast. Slightly different today, in so much as we are talking about the planning system. So I don't have an architect with me today, but I'm very pleased to welcome Charles Robinson. Charles, welcome. Charles is involved with a planning portal, for want of a better phrase, it's called the Planning Gateway, and he's here to tell us all about it and introduce himself. If you could do that, Charles, please.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Nick. I should perhaps say, first of all, I will be taking occasionally a sip of water from my Hawkstone beer glass, which some of you may know, particularly you, Nick, is Jeremy Clarkson's beer,
Yep.
which I think is very good. I was given this by one of my sons as a gift set, and I thought it was very apt today, given Jeremy Clarkson's recent trials and tribulations and frustrations with the planning process.
Yeah,
So,
well, we'll get him to chip in and pay a couple of quid for this podcast, so we'll get him to advertise it.
Absolutely. Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Right, a little bit about myself. I've been active and as a planning professional for 45 years now. I've worked for various planning consultancies, Litchfields, DTZ, as was, it's now Cushman's, BNP Paribas, DLP, all of which I was at director level. Early on in my career, I was the first in-house planner in a supermarket company in the country.
Okay.
And I've never worked for a planning authority, but obviously I've had a lot of involvement over the course of my career with planning authorities from the professional side. But I have been heavily involved with the RTPI at both regional and national level. I've been chair of the West Midlands branch, and I've worked at national level on the CPD panel for several years. So I've worked, as I say, worked with and against planning authorities over all of that time.
So somebody with some a good level of experience, shall we say? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And so I do. I've got lots of friends in local authorities, so I do appreciate what local authorities are going through and the trials and tribulations they have, as well as we have on the development side of the process. I do obviously work a lot with architects at various levels.
Yeah.
And most recently, I've been working with Mike Callum, who's an architect based up here in the Midlands, with whom I've worked for many years on a professional level. And together, we've been frustrated with the planning system, and most particularly the technology involved in the planning system. Because as the planning system is seeking to digitise itself, a lot of the systems that have been put in place, and the government's trying to get it a fully digital system by next year, which, okay, let's see if that happens. But the aim is laudable. But unfortunately, I think a lot of the systems in place are geared towards the ease of the development control planners. And that's nothing wrong in that, but they've forgotten the people who actually make the system work, which are the people who submit the applications.
Absolutely, yeah. Funny enough, there's so many people that I speak to architects all day, every day, and have done for 3 decades basically. And every podcast I've done so far, no matter it be the one-man band or some of the biggest practices in the country, and all around different regions of the country, say exactly the same issues that you've just alluded to. So it's clearly an issue, yeah.
I mean, I was looking at, your very good podcast with Duncan Greenaway recently, and he identified the problems with the planning submission process, and particularly the validation of applications. And that's exactly what Mike Callum and I have been working on. There's something like 700,000 planning applications submitted every year.
Yeah.
And nearly half of that, 350,000 of those, are invalidated. Now, that's probably not because of major consultancies, but let's be honest, most applications are actually submitted by architects, and it's absolutely, they cannot be criticised for having a problem with the submission and validation system because they're architects.
Yeah.
And, at a certain level, and I say this as a planning consultant, you don't need or shouldn't need to involve a planning consultant at every single application stage.
Okay.
And so we've tried to produce a tool that will help architects because they submit most of the applications.
Yeah.
I mean, the government's obviously got its planning portal, and I do not wish to rubbish that, but as you'd expect me to say, but even as a planning professional, I find it frustrating because I think it's a very simple and very blunt mechanism for the submission of planning applications and has lots of frustrations as opposed to say, well, I think they are deficiencies.
Yeah.
It doesn't confirm if an application is likely to be valid or invalid. It's not capable of accepting large documents, and I find that staggering. If you're looking at a fully digitized planning system, I have to say every ecology report or heritage report of flood risk and traffic reports are huge documents.
Yeah.
And to actually have them not being able to be submitted or to have to break them down, or what I tend to do is submit them direct to the local authority. But that's duplicating your workload and duplicating the local authority's workload.
Of course.
Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. And it takes, it's not a user-friendly system, and I'm afraid it takes a long time to fill the forms in, to find that you can't submit the documents because they're not big enough, etc., etc. So,
hence the birth of the planning gateway, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, and that's what we've tried to do is to produce a system which refines that and helps. So it's got a lot of AI involved, and it will help you fill the forms in first and foremost. And it's also designed to assist with validation. So if you miss things out, it'll tell you which you need. It will tell you that the application is going to be invalidated. So, and if you obviously have an invalidated application, there's a delay, there's a cost to your client. But equally,
so sorry, it stops you. Sorry, Charles, it stops you part way through then, whereas the current system won't allow you to do that.
It will say. It will say, whoa, this is, no, you haven't done this, you need this to be, you can ask it, what do I need to do for a valid application? And it will tell you.
Right, okay. Well, that's a game changer straight away, isn't it? Yeah.
It is a game changer. I mean, you could say, well, let's go to a local authority and do a pre-app and ask that question. And no disrespect to local authorities, but I've, the number of pre-apps you get back and it just says bang, 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 bang. They've just ticked every single possible box that they might do. And that's largely because a pre-app is written by, I have to say, quite often a more junior planning officer who isn't, and this is what I said, isn't able to take a view. And that's what I think the planning system has lost, the experience of being able to take a view as an officer and say, you know what, I don't need this. To determine this application, I don't need this. And so invariably you have a list of things and it covers every man and his dog, or every person and his dog. So the alternative is you try and cover everything. And if you do cover everything, you cover too much, which again is a delay and cost to your client because you're doing things which are unnecessary. And it's not helping the planning officers because some poor officer at the other end has got to read all the gumph that you're sending through.
Of course, yeah.
And, so what we're trying to do is to find and to develop a system which is more refined, more intuitive, more helpful in terms of filling the forms out, but also to get things right, which benefits you, the submitter, your client, and the planning officer at the other end. So it's seamless. As I say, the planning portal is too blunt for that. And so what we're trying to do is a more refined, intuitive system. And as I say, I have some sympathy with the local authorities in terms of getting applications which are invalid and the frustrations they must have. But it's part of that is down to the system and the tools that are available for people.
Yeah.
So, as I say, the UK Planning Gateway has been designed to be a positive, reactive and intelligent interface for the planning process, designed for architects. We're not
Okay,
trying to
that's
take
the key thing here. Yeah.
absolutely not
Yeah.
trying to take the roles away from planning consultants. And as a planning consultant, yay, because I still have a role.
Yep.
But I don't have a role in a lot of applications, and I don't need to have a role in a lot of applications. That architects are absolutely the right people to submit the vast
Yeah.
amount of applications. But this tool will help them submit that, and will also help them identify policies, help them write the appropriate statements. So it's not just a validation tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool which will help you submit and prepare the application. Doesn't do away with the person, but obviously you'll get a document which you can invite it to draft you something, but
Yeah.
you've still got to read it and have your involvement as an architect. But it will save you a vast amount of time.
Well, I sat with, because obviously this is being rolled out now. I sat with Mike a couple of weeks ago as an individual, not an architect, but obviously I knew you were coming onto the podcast, and
Yeah.
we did an example using my own residential property, and we pretended that I was going to extend my property with a single story extension, and we went through the current system right now, and we did exactly the same exercise using the planning gateway. And as somebody that's not in the know, for me, as a potential customer, it blew my mind how seamlessly straightforward it was. How Mike, as the architect that was doing it with me, how his life was made so much easier, and you could see his frustrations were alleviated because of using the planning gateway. So I think it's a fantastic system, but architects will be quite rightly skeptical because, like everything, if you've done something for so very long, every single day, day in day out, and then something new comes along, we're creatures of habit, aren't we? You want to,
Absolutely. No, and you're absolutely right. And I'm not here to spend an hour and a half trying to go through it in great detail, bore the pants off everybody, and also drive them to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm here to say, give it a try.
Yeah.
And it is online, but it's getting more and more refined on a daily basis. But
Yeah.
give it a try. You will find that it helps hugely. And what I would say is, I mean, look at me. I'm of an age. I won't say I'm a complete dinosaur, but I have sons who work in the AI sector,
Yeah.
and they talk about they're doing things which they lose me 2 seconds after they open their mouths.
Yeah.
And this system has been designed for users like myself who
Yeah.
are not. I'm not Bill Gates. I'm not. I don't use AI on a daily basis. But I need an interactive and easy tool to help me, and that is where it's been designed from. That's the basis from which it's been designed.
Yeah.
That
Fabulous.
it's got to be easy to use and easy entry, but also professional and help you and achieve what you want, but in a seamless and user-friendly manner. And so if I can use it, I can assure you most people out there can use it.
So with local authorities that it's been tested, for want of a better word, on, has there been
yes.
Have you had any direct feedback from the local authorities that have so far used it to date? How's that
Yes,
gone?
we have. And it's It's reduced. As I say, the system is being refined on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So far, it's reduced invalid applications by 60%,
Wow.
which is a massive benefit.
Yeah.
And it's increased validation times by 35%. And those figures are improving daily. And as it becomes, I know it's an intuitive system, so the system itself is learning. And,
Yes. Yeah.
So it's something which, as I said, helps both the user and the decision maker, the recipient. And for clients, it's something which you can tell your clients, which is great. Look, we're using this, and this helps you, because if you, as an architectural professional, can, there's nothing worse than going back to a client saying, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's been invalidated because they want X, Y, Z, or there's this, that, and the other wrong with it. I filled the form in wrong.
Yeah.
That's and no disrespect to the architectural professional. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens because the system is quite cumbersome and clunky at the moment.
Yeah.
This will help with that.
Brilliant. Well, the figures you've already mentioned sound fantastic. And so with the launch of the Planning Gateway now, then obviously we're trying to make everybody know about. Why do you think that it matters now more than ever? Why is it now that this has been developed, do you think? I mean, people so often say the planning system is broken and so on and so forth. Is this something that you've been involved in making because now is the time better than ever, do you think?
Well, the planning system is broken, but that's largely a policy.
Fair enough. Yeah,
and the government is trying to develop the policy aspects, but part of fixing the planning system is making it simpler.
Yes,
and it's not purely a policy aspect to that. It's actually using technology to make the system more effective, because we've got to face the facts that there are less planning officers. And I'm sorry, I know local authorities say, well, if you give us more money, we could employ more people, and we could that would help the broken planning system. Well, I'm sorry, it won't. There are only so many planning professionals out there, and there's not enough. And just throwing money at a system is never the solution. We have technology coming in. The government has said they want a fully digitised planning system by next year.
Yeah.
And AI is being developed apace. And and that, I think, is the key aspect. It's the introduction of AI into the system, which is what we've done. And that is the difference. So you've got a system which is becoming more digitised, but we've tried to make it less clunky, as I've said before, less cumbersome, and not as blunt, and more refined, and more user. And its key thing is user friendly, because if you, as an architect or an architectural technician, whatever, want to submit a planning application, you don't, your skills are in the architectural side. You don't want to have to employ an IT specialist just to submit the application. You need to be able to use the system easily, and that's the basis on which we've come. And I think we've achieved it.
It sounds it from this kind of 20-minute conversation so far. It's you're very enthused by it. You're somebody, as you mentioned earlier, with 45 years experience in this exact space, with some of the biggest businesses in the country at very high senior levels. So if anybody's going to know more about it, you are. And the figures you've quoted. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have to say, I don't want to, sorry to interrupt, but I have to say, I wouldn't want to sit here and say, as of today, this is the absolute panacea. It's a system which is learning. It is very good, I can assure you. It is very good. And what we want are people to use it, and to say, this was great, all right, this was very helpful, or this was great, but I actually had a really quirky requirement, and it would have been helpful had it done this, because
Yeah.
the system, we can then help the system learn.
Yeah.
And the more people use it, the more it will learn and the better it will get.
Yeah.
It's very good, and I have to say, and I'm not just saying this because I've been involved in formulating this, but it's far better than the planning portal. But whereas the planning portal is the planning portal, and I've used it for years, and improvements have been made along the way, this system will get better rapidly on a daily basis in some cases. The more people use it.
Well, that's the whole kind of premise of this podcast and this chat with you today, isn't it? To make people aware, to raise the profile of the Planning Gateway, and ultimately to drive traffic to the website, which, to remind everybody, is, I'm right in saying it's planninggateway.co.uk, isn't it?
That's it, yes.
So we invite people to go to the Planning Gateway website, have a look for themselves, trial it themselves, and see what they think, and hopefully come back with similar opinions that you've voiced today.
Yeah, that's what we want. And as I say, the more people use it, the better the system will get. It's a good system, but it will get better.
Yeah.
And that it needs to. No system is absolutely perfect for everybody, but what we've got is an intelligent system.
Yeah.
And welcome to the scary world of AI. But if you use it, it is very, very helpful.
There's no cost to entry, is there? I presume registration is free, and so it's not. This is not a sales pitch per se, is it? It's not. It's completely free to register, and people can just start straight away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has online mapping tools, etc. So it's got lots of aspects to it, which I think people will find extraordinarily helpful.
Yeah.
And you can ask it questions and things like that. It's a very, very interactive and intuitive system. But it's free to use, and it's, I think, something which the architectural profession will find very useful. It's been designed to help It's been designed with an architect to help architects interact with the planning system. So it's been designed by an architect with a planner. So hopefully it helps both.
Well, my job, owning the Architecture Vogue magazine, things like this are fabulous. They're fascinating, and I'm all behind it. If I can raise the profile in any way, shape, or form, then I'm more than happy to do so, because I think it's wonderful. Like I say, I've tested it myself. It works brilliantly. You're an ambassador for it that's come up with all these facts and figures that make for a great read, quite frankly. And all we need to say is go and try planninggateway.co.uk.
Yes,
give it a go. And well, Charles, I think it's fascinating. Your insight today has been fascinating, and hopefully the audience and the people that watch this video will hopefully feel the same. And let's welcome feedback. I say hopefully people feed back to you and through my channels and whatever. And feedback is king. And as long as the feedback hopefully comes back through positively, then this thing will grow. So
absolutely, that's what we want. That's what we want.
Lovely. Well, Charles, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure to just sit and listen to you, because I've been, enthused by everything that you've said, and hopefully the audience will as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick.